The galaxy had never seen a fleet like this. The Shatter Armada was not built for war. It was built for destruction. Each ship was larger than a continent, armored in black metal that drank in the light of nearby stars. Their engines burned like suns, and their weapons were said to break entire planets into dust. And now, the Armada had entered Earth's star system. From the control room of a satellite station orbiting Mars, the first human technicians saw the shadows moving across their screens. At first, they thought the readings were wrong, too large, too many. But as the seconds passed, the truth became clear. A fleet. A massive fleet. The technicians whispered in fear. No one had seen anything like this before. Within minutes, Earth's defense networks were alert. Satellites around the moon began transmitting images, and the world watched as dark shapes blotted out the stars. The Shatter Armada was here. In capital cities across Earth. Panic spread like fire. Presidents, prime ministers, and generals argued in crowded chambers. What could humans do against ships the size of continents? Against weapons designed to crush planets into dust? Screens in every room showed the same thing. The Armada was advancing slowly, silently, like a mountain sliding through the sky. But not everyone panicked. Far beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a hidden bunker known only to a few, General Marcus Hale stood calm as stone. He watched the same satellite feeds, the same images of the Armada filling the heavens. His staff shifted nervously, waiting for his orders. But Hale said nothing at first. The man was older now, his hair white at the edges, his face carved with years of war. But his eyes remained sharp, steady. Unlike the leaders above ground, Hale did not tremble. He leaned closer to the display, studying every detail. He knew something the aliens did not. Outside, the world fell into fear. News anchors shouted across television screens warning of the end of days. Some cities erupted into chaos as people tried to flee, though there was nowhere to run. Others prayed, looking at the sky as if heaven might intervene. The Armada continued forward, slow and unstoppable. On board the flagship, alien commanders watched Earth with cold amusement. To them, this was not a battle. It was a lesson. They had destroyed dozens of worlds before, crushing resistance with overwhelming force. Earth would be no different. The lead commander, a towering figure of scaled armor and burning eyes, recorded a message. His voice was sharp, cruel, designed to cut through hope. The message was transmitted not only to Earth's leaders, but to every broadcast network, every device, every screen across the planet. The world stopped to listen. "This is the Shatter Armada," the alien voice echoed. "We are the will of the Royal Dominion. Your world stands in our path. You have 24 hours to surrender your planet, your armies, and your people. Refuse, and Earth will be broken into dust." The words fell like a hammer. Children cried. In homes, soldiers stood frozen in their bases. Leaders looked at one another, pale and silent. 24 hours. That was all. On the streets of New York, London, and Tokyo, people stared at giant screens showing the alien ships above the stars. Some begged for peace. Others shouted for war. But all felt the same thing: fear. Back in the hidden bunker, General Hale finally spoke. His voice was calm, but heavy with meaning. "They think we will surrender," he said, turning to his officers. "They believe we are weak. They believe we are unprepared. But they are wrong." The officers looked at him, confused but hopeful. They had heard whispers of secret programs, of hidden defenses buried deep within Earth, but none of them knew the truth. Only Hale and a small circle of commanders understood the scale of what had been prepared. As the alien message echoed again. Across every screen, 24 hours to surrender. Hale stood tall, his hand resting on the table. "Let them believe we are afraid," he said. Let them think we are helpless. The longer they underestimate us, the better. Because when the time comes, he paused, his eyes fixed on the glowing images of the Armada. They will learn what Earth has been hiding. The first part of Earth's last story had begun. The Shatter Armada, built to crush planets, believed it had already won. The world above was filled with panic and despair. But beneath the mountains, in the silence of steel and shadow, humanity's greatest secret stirred, and the countdown had begun. 20-4 hours. The alien message still echoed across Earth. 24 hours. Surrender or be destroyed. It played on every screen, every device, every channel. No one could escape the words. The Shatter Armada wanted the world to feel helpless, and it was working. In homes, people held their children close. In cities, chaos spread. Some believed surrender was the only way to survive. Others shouted that humanity must fight, even if it meant death. The world had never been so divided, yet never so united in fear. Inside the secret bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus Hawley watched it all unfold. His face remained calm, but inside his mind, the clock was ticking. 24 hours was not much time. Got around him. Officers argued. General, we cannot fight ships that size, one said. They will destroy us in seconds, another whispered. Hawley, let them speak. He had heard the same doubts before, but unlike them, he knew the truth. Humanity was not as defenseless as it appeared. The time had come to awaken what had been hidden for decades. Long ago, after the first signs of alien life were discovered, Earth's governments knew the truth. Sooner or later, someone out there would come for them. Humanity was young compared to the great civilizations of the galaxy. But humans also understood survival better than most. And so, in secret, a project was born. Project Aegis. It was not a weapon in the usual sense. It was something far greater, a shield, a hidden defense system, buried deep beneath oceans, mountains, and deserts. Entire generations of scientists, engineers, and soldiers had worked in silence, building something the world never knew existed. Even most presidents, most leaders were kept in the dark. They came and went, but Project Aegis endured, watched over by a small circle of guardians. General Hawley was one of those guardians. Far below the waves of the Atlantic Ocean, something stirred. At first, it was only a faint vibration, too deep for ships to notice. Then the seabed shifted, and massive doors of steel began to open. Salt water rushed into ancient tunnels, waking machines that had been asleep for decades. In the blackness of the ocean floor, lights flickered to life. Beams of blue cut through the darkness, revealing shapes as large as skyscrapers. Engines hummed. Armor groaned. Weapons that no human civilian had ever seen powered on for the first time in years. Earth's secret was waking. Back in orbit, the Shatter Armada continued to move closer. On their flagship, alien commanders laughed at the chaos below. Pathetic. One hissed. They are already breaking. They will kneel before the Dominion, said another. And if not, we will burn their world until nothing remains. To them, this was routine. They had crushed worlds before. They had erased entire civilizations. They had destroyed planets stronger than Earth, but none of them knew what was rising in the deep. Inside the bunker, a young officer looked at Hawley with fear in his eyes. Sir, what can we do? Even with everything we have, how do we stop them? Hale's gaze never left the glowing images of the Armada on the screen. We don't stop them, he said quietly. We show them. Show them what, sir? That? Humanity was never prey. Hawley answered. Hours passed. Across the globe, leaders debated surrender. Some begged for peace, willing to hand Earth over to alien rule if it meant survival. Others demanded war, no matter the cost. But General Hawley remained silent. He knew there would be no surrender. Not because humanity was proud, not because of ego, but because surrender meant extinction. The Armada would never allow Earth to live free. They would break the planet anyway. Only one path remained: to fight. And the fight would not be what the Armada expected. On screens across the bunker, alerts began flashing. Sonar and satellite images showed enormous movements beneath the seas. Officers gasped as they watched the readings climb higher and higher. "Sir, what is this?" One shouted. General Hawley finally allowed himself a thin smile. "It's the reason we are still alive," he said. Far below, the ocean floor split open as something massive began to rise. Water boiled and waves shook as the first of the great. Machines pushed upward. A giant tower of steel and light broke through the waves, reaching for the sky. The ocean roared around it as more shapes rose behind it. Colossal war machines, hidden for generations. The world watched in shock as satellite feeds showed the Atlantic erupting with pillars of light and steel. Civilians stared at their screens, mouths open. Leaders froze in silence. And in the alien flagship, commanders leaned forward, confused for the first time. Something was happening on Earth. Something the Armada had not planned for. General Hall stood tall, his voice steady. "Project Aegis is waking," he said. "And soon, the Armada will learn what humanity has kept hidden." The countdown to destruction still ticked. 24 hours were shrinking fast. But Earth was no longer just waiting. Earth was preparing. And for the first time, the Shatter Armada felt a whisper of doubt. The skies above Earth were no longer calm. Every telescope, every satellite, every camera pointed upward showed the same terrifying sight: the Shatter Armada drifting closer, its ships black and silent, blotting out the stars. The countdown continued. Less than 20 hours remained. In the alien flagship, the commander of the Armada studied Earth with cold amusement. He was called Lord Xerus, a veteran of countless conquests. His scaled hands rested on the throne-like command chair as he observed the human world. "They panic, just as all prey do," Xerus said. His voice was low, harsh, like metal grinding against stone. "They scream, they run, but in the end, they kneel." His officers laughed. To them, Earth was no more than another trophy to be claimed. Xerus raised a clawed hand. "Prepare. Demonstration. We will remind them what awaits if they resist." Moments later, a weapon was charged aboard one of the Armada's giant warships. Its barrel glowed red, brighter and brighter, until a beam of destructive energy shot across the void. Its target was not Earth. Not yet. It was the moon. The beam struck with terrifying force. The lunar surface shook, crumbling as a great scar, ripped across its gray plains. Dust rose in waves that could be seen from Earth. With the naked eye, billions of people gasped as they watched live feeds of their moon cracking open. The message was clear. If the Armada could wound the moon so easily, what chance did Earth have? Panic erupted across the world. Some screamed for surrender. Others cried for revenge. But no one could deny the truth. The aliens had power beyond imagining. In the underground bunker, General Marcus Hawley stood as still as stone. His officers turned to him in alarm. "General, they've attacked the moon. If they fire on Earth, they—" "Won't fire yet," Hawley interrupted. His calm voice cut through the panic. "That was a warning shot. They want us afraid. They want us broken before they strike." He leaned closer to the display, his eyes narrowing. "But fear can be used. It buys us time." And so, humanity answered. High above the atmosphere, satellites, disguised as space debris, suddenly came alive. Their panels unfolded, revealing sleek weapons hidden for years. Dozens of orbital stations, cloaked in silence, began transmitting encrypted codes. For the first time in history, Earth's true defenses revealed themselves, missiles launched from hidden silos beneath deserts and oceans, energy cannons powered up from mountain bunkers. Even the stars above flickered as cloaked drones rose from the shadows. The world thought Earth had been defenseless. Now they saw the truth. Humanity had been preparing in secret. The Armada did not laugh now. Primitive. Weapons, one alien sneered, but his tone was uncertain. They cannot harm us. Lord Xeris studied the human response with narrowed eyes. The scale of it unsettled him. This was no desperate, last-second defense. This was something planned, prepared for years. Do not underestimate them, Xeris said coldly. Destroy their weapons. Show them resistance is hopeless. The battle began. Human missiles streaked through space, leaving trails of fire behind them. Orbital cannons spat beams of light, targeting the closest alien warships. Swarms of drones darted forward like angry hornets, their small weapons blazing. For a moment, the skies were alive with fire. Alien shields flared, absorbing much of the damage. Some missiles burst harmlessly against the massive ships. But not all. One alien cruiser shuddered as explosions ripped across its hull, breaking through its defenses. Another ship tilted off course, flames spewing from its engines. For the first time, the Shatter Armada bled. Earth erupted in cheers. In homes and bases and cities, people shouted with hope. The aliens could be hurt. They were not invincible. But hope quickly turned to horror. The Armada struck back. Beams of energy, wider than skyscrapers, lanced down toward Earth's orbit. Human satellites vaporized in bursts of fire. Orbital stations exploded one by one, vanishing in silence. Entire swarms of drones were cut down by sweeping alien weapons. Within minutes, half of Earth's revealed defenses were gone. The sky burned with falling debris. In the bunker, officers shouted reports. Station Delta destroyed. Losses at 60%. General, we can't hold this line. But Halle did not panic. He knew these losses were expected. The orbital weapons were never meant to defeat the Armada. They were only meant to delay. They're buying us time, Halle said quietly. Time for what, sir? An officer asked. Halle turned, his expression dark but steady. For Aegis. Deep beneath the Atlantic, the hidden machines continued to rise. The ocean thundered as enormous towers of steel pushed upward, each one glowing with ancient energy. Waves roared against their armor as the first of the Aegis Titans broke the surface. It was a machine the size of a mountain. Its body forged from metals no civilian scientist had ever seen, its eyes glowing like suns. More followed, rising in formation, their engines shaking the seas. And in their core, weapons older than humanity itself, powered up. In the alien flagship, alarms rang. Officers shouted as their scanners picked up the rising Titans. What is this? One cried. These readings, they are too large for ships, too advanced for a primitive world. Lord Xeris leaned forward, his cold eyes narrowing. For the first time, doubt flickered across his face. Impossible, he muttered. They were supposed to be weak. On Earth, civilians looked to the skies and seas with wide eyes. News. Feeds showed towering shapes rising from the ocean, their silhouettes casting shadows across the waves. The world held its breath. Humanity had taken its first strike. The Armada had answered. The sky was burning, the moon was cracked, and Earth's defenses were nearly gone. But now, something far greater was waking. Something the aliens had not expected. Something that could change everything. The oceans boiled. From the depths of the Atlantic, the first Aegis Titan rose in full. It was a colossus of steel and light, taller than mountains, its armored plates gleaming with a strange metallic glow. Waves crashed against its massive frame as if the sea itself feared the thing it had hidden for so long. And it was not alone. Behind it, more Titans emerged. One by one, their hulking silhouettes broke the surface, shaking the earth as they rose. Some were shaped like enormous war machines, bristling with weapons. Others looked almost alive, their armor curved like muscle, their glowing eyes scanning the skies. Each of them carried enough firepower to turn continents to ash. For decades, they had slept beneath the oceans, hidden from the world. Now they were awake. All across the planet, humanity watched in stunned silence. In New York, millions stared at the giant screens in Times Square, their mouths open as the Titans loomed out of the water. In Beijing, people filled the streets, pointing at the skies where satellite feeds showed enormous machines rising. Across Africa, South America, Europe, everywhere, people saw the same thing. They had thought Earth was defenseless. Now they realized Earth had been hiding monsters of its own. Inside the bunker, General Marcus Heil stood tall as the first images appeared on the control screens. His officers stared in disbelief. "My God," one whispered. "We really built them." Halle gave a small nod. "We did, and we buried them, waiting for the day we would need them." Another officer shook his head, eyes wide. "Sir, these machines, how did we create something like this? They're beyond anything our engineers could have built." Hale's face remained unreadable. Some knowledge was not ours to begin with. The officer froze. "You mean," Halla cut him off with a glance, "not now." Above, the Shatter Armada shifted uneasily. Alien commanders shouted across the flagship as their scanners filled with impossible readings. The Titans were larger than any human creation should have been. Their energy signatures were off the scale, brighter than anything the Armada had faced before. "Report," Lord Xeris barked. "Unclear, my lord," an officer stammered. "The humans, they have awoken machines, weapons the size of cities. We cannot calculate their origin." "Origin?" Xeris snarled. "They are human weapons, nothing more." But even he did not sound certain. The first Titan moved. Its head turned slowly, its glowing eyes fixing on the Armada in the sky. Then, with a sound like thunder, it raised one massive arm. Panels opened along its side, and a weapon powered up a cannon so large it stretched across its entire body. The weapon fired. A beam of pure light ripped through the darkness of space, striking an alien warship. The ship's shields flared, screamed, then shattered in an instant. The beam tore through its hull like paper, splitting the cruiser in half. Billions on Earth gasped. For the first time, the Shatter Armada had been destroyed not by missiles, not by desperation, but by something built to fight them. The Armada answered with fury. Dozens of alien ships fired at once. Their beams slashed down at the ocean, striking the Titans. Water exploded into steam as the sea boiled, waves towering higher than skyscrapers. For a moment, the Titans vanished in fire and chaos. But when the smoke cleared, they still stood. Their armor, glowing with strange symbols, had absorbed the blasts. And then the other Titans moved, missiles as large as towers launched from hidden compartments. Shockwaves split the skies as cannons fired in unison. The ocean itself seemed to roar as the Titans unleashed their full fury. Alien ships shattered under the onslaught. Fire lit the heavens. In cities across Earth, people cheered through tears. Hope returned, stronger than before. Humanity was not broken. Humanity was not prey. But General Halle did not celebrate. He watched the battle carefully, his jaw tight. "Don't be fooled," he warned his officers. The skies above Earth were fire. Alien beams slashed across the heavens, cutting through satellites and drones. Human weapons answered with streaks of light, missiles and lasers tearing through the dark. The sea itself churned as the Aegis Titans unleashed their power, standing tall against the impossible. For the first time, humanity was not only defending, it was fighting back. The alien flagship loomed above it all, a fortress of black steel, larger than a city. Inside, Lord Xerus stood at the center of chaos, his scaled face lit by red alarms. Status. He roared. One officer trembled. Dozens of cruisers destroyed, my lord. Their machines, their Titans. They are tearing through the fleet. Xerus's eyes burned. And yet Earth still stands. Enough delays. Charge the Worldbreaker cannon. Deep within the flagship, engineers obeyed. Enormous conduits glowed as ancient alien power coursed through the weapon. The Worldbreaker was not meant for battles. It was meant for the destruction of entire planets. Its target was Earth. Back on the ground, in the hidden bunker, General Marcus Hallau stared at the incoming data. His officers whispered, in terror, "Sir, they're charging something massive. Energy readings off the scale. Bigger than anything we've ever seen." Hale's jaw tightened. He had expected this. The Armada would not leave Earth half destroyed. They would erase it completely. "We stop it," Hale said. His voice was firm, unshaken. No matter the cost. Above the ocean, the Titans roared to life. One of them, towering higher than the others, raised both arms to the sky. Its chest split open, revealing a massive cannon glowing like a star. The air trembled, waves collapsed, and then it fired. The beam streaked into orbit, slamming into another alien warship. The cruiser screamed in fire and was torn apart, pieces raining down like meteors. Humanity cheered across the world. They saw hope. They saw resistance. For the first time, they believed survival was possible, but victory was still far away. The Armada struck back with overwhelming force. 10 alien battleships fired at once, their beams crushing into the Titans. The sea boiled, the sky shattered. With thunder, and one Titan staggered. A second volley hit, and the giant machine fell, its body sinking into the ocean, with a roar that shook continents. On the coasts, people screamed as tsunamis tore into cities. Millions were swept away in moments. Humanity was fighting, but the cost was unbearable. Inside the bunker, officers cried out as reports flooded in. "Titan IV destroyed. Casualties in the millions. We can't withstand this, sir." But Hale did not waver. He leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the glowing readouts. "They want us broken," he said quietly. "But we are not broken yet." The surviving Titans advanced. Their massive frames cut through the waves, firing everything they had. Missile pods unleashed storms of fire. Rail cannons split the sky with thunder. Beams of pure energy ripped. Through alien hulls, another alien cruiser exploded. Then another. One Titan leapt from the sea with impossible force, landing on the hull of an enemy battleship. Its massive fists slammed down, tearing through armor. The alien ship screamed as the Titan ripped it apart piece by piece. Earth was bleeding, but so was the Armada. On the flagship, Lord Xerus's fury burned brighter than the stars. "These humans dare humiliate us?" He bellowed, his clawed hand slammed into the console, shattering metal. "Prepare the cannon, now." The Worldbreaker cannon continued to charge. Energy built like a storm, brighter, hotter, until the entire flagship glowed with lethal power. The weapon locked on Earth. General Hale saw it. His officers saw it. The world saw it. A beam large enough to split the planet was about to fire. One young officer whispered, "Sir, this is the end." Hale turned to him, his face carved with iron resolve. "No," he said. "This is the beginning." On the ocean, the lead Titan moved. Its eyes flared, glowing brighter than the sun. Symbols along its armor lit up. Ancient runes humanity had never understood, but it trusted all the same. Its chest opened, not with one cannon, but with many an entire array of weapons charging at once. The Titan aimed not at the Armada's fleet, but at the flagship itself. The cannon fired. A beam of unimaginable power tore across the void, slamming into the flagship's shields. For a moment, the shield held, but it cracked. Then it shattered. The beam struck the flagship, burning across its hull. Alarm screamed, the ship trembled, and the world-breaker cannon flickered. The Armada had never been hit like this before. Lord Xyras roared, his scaled body shaking with fury. Fire the cannon. Fire IT now. But the world-breaker was unstable. The Titan's attack had damaged it. The weapon sputtered, its energy surging out of control. On Earth, civilians stared at the sky as the flagship glowed brighter and brighter, energy building. Like a second sun, General Hale's voice cut through the silence. They're about to fire. Everything we've done comes down to this. The battle for Earth had reached its peak. The Armada had lost ships, but Earth had lost millions. Titans stood, but some had fallen. The seas roared, the skies burned, and the flagship prepared to unleash its final weapon. The next shot would decide everything. The flagship of the Armada glowed like a dying star. The world-breaker cannon pulsed with unstable energy, threatening to fire or to explode. Across Earth, billions of eyes turned upward, waiting for the shot that would end their world. In the hidden command bunker, silence hung like death. The monitor showed only one thing: the flagship's charging core. General Marcus Hall stood, unmoving, his face lit by the glow. His officers whispered prayers. Some wept, some stared in frozen shock. Hale's voice finally cut through the silence. "This is it," he said. "Our last chance." Above the ocean, the remaining Titans waded forward, battered, scorched, and broken, but still standing. 3 giants remained. One limped, one's chest burned with fire, but their eyes still glowed. Humanity's last weapons faced an enemy fortress. The size of a mountain. The seas boiled around them. The skies thundered. The end of Earth was seconds away. Inside the flagship, Lord Xyras roared at his crew. "Stabilize the cannon. Fire IT now." His engineers worked frantically, but the Titans. Earlier strike had cracked the reactor conduits. Energy flooded uncontrollably through the ship. "My lord," one officer stammered, "if we fire in this state, do it." Xyras snapped, slamming a claw into the console. "If Earth must burn, then we burn with it." General Hawley knew. They couldn't wait. He turned to his officers. "Open a channel," he said. His voice was steel. "Sir, to who?" One asked. "To the Titans." For years, humanity had used the Titans without understanding them. They were machines older than Earth's wars, unearthed from ruins beneath the oceans. No human built them. No human truly controlled them. But Hale had always believed they carried something more. The channel opened, and his voice thundered across the battlefield. "Titans!" Hale called. "You were not built for war alone. You were built for this moment. Humanity stands with you. The Armada believes we are weak. Show them what it means to fight for home." The Titans moved. Their eyes flared like suns. Their armor blazed with ancient runes, glowing brighter than before. The wounded Titan straightened, as if strength surged back into its limbs. And then something impossible. The Titan spoke. A voice, deep as the ocean and vast as the sky, echoed through every human radio, every screen, every mind. "We hear you." The bunker fell silent. Civilians across the world froze in awe. The Titans had never spoken before. "We were guardians before your kind walked the stars. We have waited. And now, at last, we fight with you?" The Titans charged. They rose from the seas, their massive frames breaking through waves like mountains in motion. Weapons flared, cannons thundered, and missiles streaked into orbit. The flagship fired back, beams slamming into the Titans, burning. Metal, tearing armor. But still they advanced. One Titan took a direct hit and staggered. Its left arm shattered, its body burning. But instead of falling, it leapt. The giant hurled itself upward, smashing into an alien battleship. With one final act, it tore the vessel apart, dragging it down into the ocean with itself. Humanity wept. A Titan was gone, but it had taken thousands of enemies with it. 2 Titans remained. The flagship's cannon reached its peak. The glow became blinding, a miniature sun ready to unleash death. General Hale's eyes locked on the readings. "They have seconds," he whispered. The lead Titan raised its arms. Energy coursed through it, brighter than anything yet seen. Symbols across its body aligned, a perfect harmony of light and power. For a moment, it did not look like a machine. It looked alive. The second Titan mirrored it, both charging together. Their voices echoed again. For Earth. Lord Zira's screamed. His final command, fire. The Worldbreaker cannon released. A beam larger than mountains tore downward, aimed straight at Earth. At the same instant, the Titans fired. Their combined blast, a storm of pure energy, roared upward to meet the cannon. The two forces collided in the void above the planet. Light swallowed everything. For a moment, the Earth itself seemed to stop turning. Oceans stilled. Winds died. Humanity held its breath, and then an explosion shook the skies. The flagship shattered. The Worldbreaker cannon ruptured, energy ripping through the Armada's greatest warship. Fire and debris rained across the void as the colossal vessel broke. Apart piece by piece, the explosion consumed the nearby alien fleet, tearing them apart in waves of fire. The Armada was undone.